and welcome to another Build With Me video. This project is going to be building this digital clock. It's made out of LEDs, RGB, addressable LEDs. And as such, it can produce all the different colours, different patterns, and even fancy displays. So please join with me as we take apart this kit, or rather unbox this kit, and show you what the contents are and get into how to build it. So this is what comes in the package, all held together with incredibly sticky tape. Some residue still left over of it. So let's have a little look at what we've got here. First of all, we have a bag of surface mount components. I think this is the 256 capacitors, and then the RGB addressable LEDs. Big bundle of them in crinkly packets. So, USB power lead, audio input lead, our little circuit board, we'll take a closer look at that in a minute, battery for the RTC, battery holder, little rotary encoder, some assorted hardware, short piece of cable, headphone jack, capacitors, crystal and diode, more capacitors and resistors, microcontroller, upside down, all the electrons will fall out, little switch, another little chip, potentiometer, a couple of little bits and pieces. We have to zoom down on these, find out what they are. So, got an STC micro controller, can't quite make out the numbering on it. There we go, that's a bit better. Get the light at the right angle. And this is the real-time clock, 1302. Now on the back of at least some of these capacitors, or at least one of them, they have written what they are. If you can make that out, you're better than I am. It might be 224. And that looks like 104. Of course, we've got our diode. And we have a couple of electrolytics as well. 470 microfarad by the looks of things. Our crystal, most likely that's the 32 kilohertz crystal. That's usually what they use for the real-time clocks. And then we've got this circuit board here. I think this is a microphone preamplifier, is basically, I think, what this is. So it's its own little module, because this has a microphone input, so it can show sort of like a waterfall type display of what's going on. Let's have a closer look at the circuit board. And everybody's favourite, matte black. So obviously we have our microcontroller goes on here and the real-time clock. This is a programming header, not actually needed in this particular application because it comes pre-programmed, but I suppose if you wanted to hack it and program your own, that's how you do it. Seems quite well laid out. Not a lot of traces on the back. They're able to get most of it done on the front side of it. So let's just have a wee look at the instructions that come with this kit. Surprisingly, for many of these kits, the instructions that are supplied along with this kit or for this kit are not too bad. They're not terribly comprehensive, but they seem to be reasonable. So first of all, you get a number of files. This is the one that's the instructions. They also give you a parts list, and a couple of other instructional sheets. So it's quite straightforward, giving you an overview, also letting you know that this header that we saw on the board is not used. Also advice, pay attention to the direction of the diode, although not very clear on this picture as to the orientation of that. And also the microphone has also got a polarity, which again is reinforced on the next page. It tells us that resistors and capacitors don't have a polarity of the surface mount ones anyway. Interestingly, it says install the button battery after welding or soldering. I would wait until you've got the whole project complete before putting that in. Likelihood is that this battery may well be flat anyway. This is where it's slightly lacking. The instructions for welding or for soldering the LEDs onto the main sort of display board. This is all the instruction they give you. So a finished picture and a picture of how to orient the LED correctly, which is helpful, but they don't give you any indication as to how to actually solder this. So I'll spend a little bit of time showing how to do this. In the video that's on YouTube, another video on building up this kit, the person doing it shows injecting solder paste, dots of solder paste onto each of these and then reflowing them with hot air. But not everybody has that capability or experience, so I'm going to try doing this probably both ways, but I will definitely be showing how to solder these up just using a conventional soldering iron. Then a little bit of instruction on how to assemble all of this. I'll show in a minute the hardware for this as well. So some basic instructions as to do that. Microphone preamp module and how that gets mounted. Making sure everything is aligned. Putting it back together. Connecting it up. Wiring it up. And then finally installing the shell. So basic instructions. This definitely is not a kit for an absolute beginner. This is going to be a little bit more challenging to be able to put together. So let me just try and hack my way, get my knife. Just carefully open this because these are display parts, so they're going to be seen. So if you scratch them, those scratches are going to be seen. Well, that was easy. So these are all like black acrylic that's been laser cut. So we have to peel off all of these paper backings, which I'm not going to do right now because I don't want to get them all scratched up. So this is like a separator guide that goes over all the LEDs, a bit of diffusion material. Now of course we've got a front and a back piece of acrylic, and this is the main display LED display board. So these particular LEDs that are supplied are not like conventional RGB LEDs. They actually have a digital chip in them so that they're controlled digitally. So they receive power, and also they have a signal input and then a signal output. So you can see on these, get something to point with. For instance, you can see on here, let me see if we can get somewhere where it's focusing on. So you can see the decoupling capacitor for each one, but also you can see, like here, the trace coming in and going out and then coming in. So all these are basically in series. So the microcontroller basically feeds in information for all of these LEDs just in series. Every single one, 256 of these are in series. And so they just feed the data in and then they pass it through. Very remarkable really for the size of all of these. How it works, I don't know. Unicorns, magic bunnies, something or other. Witchcraft, I don't know. But this is the main circuit board, so this will probably take the longest time to do. 256 LEDs and 256 capacitors. That's a lot of soldering. So we'll have a bit of fun with this, but fortunately I won't force you to endure the real time of me soldering in every single one of these. But we'll see if we can get some nice close-up shots to help anybody who may be a little bit newer at soldering up these sort of components. So that's pretty much an overview of what comes in this kit.